Welcome, everybody, ladies, gentlemen, guests, friends, newcomers, oldcomers. Today is a big day, and we're excited to have you with us for this. I don't know, even we just call it like an elation space. Renee hasn't slept in a night. We're too giddy to do anything but hop online with everyone. We just wanted to talk about the Vibe Studio. If you are just seeing this video, probably right below it is a whole tweet thread about what the Vibe Studio is and why we're so excited about it. It's also probably at the top of our Twitter because we pinned it. We have essays, we have videos. Well, this, I suppose, is the video. We have a town hall coming tomorrow. We want to answer your questions. But for right now, we wanted to make sure that we not only told you all about the Vibe Studio, the thing we've been working on for the better part of a year. We wanted to take you through it. We wanted to show you what it looks like. We wanted to tell you why we're excited about it, how we've built it. We basically just want to, we need a pressure release valve for our mutual excitement. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the Vibe Studio.
There we go. I mean, that's it. Lots of opportunities already for launch. I mean, we originally wanted to go live with 6 apps or 7, and now we have 10. So over the last couple of days, the first stuff has already been added. So
why don't we, if you don't mind, Renee, why don't we start here? Can you start with the genesis of the Vibe Studio as an idea? Because I know over the past year, we had this Mocha 2.0 announcement, this roadmap towards agentic AI, and I would love to know when this all started to coalesce for you in the ideologically in the current form. When did the Vibe Studio, as it kind of exists, begin to?
I would say as soon as we had conviction behind the idea of having access to compute without having to pay excess fiat currency. So as soon as Compute AI and their GPU clusters that you can like scale your workloads on, like ConfUI workflows and all kind of things that we tinkered around with to create marketing material for decos and stuff, like create image to video. Like we saw that these kind of things will be available at some point through web UIs, and like you can like put like a simple story, like the ones you see here, like on top of the abstracted workflow, and then give people the opportunity to, you know, use that compute. Like all the deco holders can use that for free, and like if you have Mocha, and right now everything is free for you to try. But the idea is that Mocha covers the compute from their stakes in Compute AI and in Venice, as well as other ecosystems that we have like vested interest in, like Hyperfy. Like there will be so much stuff that we can build on top of, and like can allow others to build on top of once, as we have lots of data in the museum around art decos, around artwork. Like it's only getting better. And then the idea was to like play with the personalities. And at that time, Daim was working on the last weeks of his codex work, and that became way clearer. And from that point, when we realized, okay, well, now we have like, let me jump into the codex. Like now we have like 10,000 AI agent personalities already prepared for ELIZA and stuff, of course, but we have like way more depth to them, and we can provide this kind of data from APIs. And that was when we started building ourselves various things rapidly. So there's like a world map, for example, where they even use the longitude, latitude coordinates in all the decos to like place them on like a world map. And you can like from here can jump to deco, and you are back in the codex, and you can go down. You can also like from the codex, you know, check the locations like pra, click view on map, and then you are back in the in the deco map, and then like everything was tying into each other. And by building all the stuff open source, like we will show you repos later, we can do stuff like the adoption center, where you don't have a deco yet, you can like get the cheapest 10 from the floor, like click them, and then you can buy them, go to Raster.art, our partners, or you can go to chat and then like talk to those art decos. I just lost my share. Max, can you get my screen back? Yeah, like you're in the adoption center, you would chat, and then you are here where we always like at the full hour, simple, like we fetch the cheapest decos from the floor and you can like talk to them. But yeah, like back to the Vibe Studio, like we also have like a printing service, but that's already too much. Like you get the idea. Like everything is vibe coded very rapidly. Of course, you can also like go to the launcher, log in there with Web3 and launch your own decos. Like that is live right now, so you can go there and select 10 of your decos and spin them up the same way like we just showed. And yeah, I think Daim, you can talk a bit more about the codex, like why this was such an interesting awakening moment for the Vibe Studio.
Yeah, so the codex, the codex in a sense, as a concept, I guess sort of you could argue happened late in the deco personality development process, but really I would say, like, even though the concept wasn't sort of fully coalesced early on, from the earliest days, like, we were building towards that because I recognized that it wasn't enough to sort of create 10,000 Eliza OS current version agent profile character files and call it a day. We are building everything we build for decos with sort of ongoing and future utility and development and growth in mind and evolution. And so I early on played around with, like, Eliza OS character profiles being generated fairly directly, but pretty quickly moved over to an approach of trying to figure out just how I can create sort of the most interesting and varied and diverse and interesting sort of backstories and biographies and preferences and writing styles and all these various details for decos. Much more stuff than you can reasonably get into a current stage Eliza OS profile and expect it to be fully actioned. But what that means is that we were working towards, from very early on, a very sort of expansive and rich and nuanced personality and characterization for all 10,000 decos. And so the idea is that once we had that, from that we can distill our Eliza OS, I think it's, what is it, version 1.5, I think, character profile files. And that's the on launch day existence of decos as agents. But the idea is that this rich characterization has so much information in it and so much depth and detail and nuance in it that as agentic technology progresses, as we're able to, put more and more of that existing, nuance and information and metadata into the agents, subsequent versions of our decos will continue to sort of, you can think of it as growing towards perfection or growing towards becoming, more and more like their best and truest selves, as conceptualized in the fullness of their codex pages. um, yeah, so that's sort of the idea. And then, there was I'm pretty sure about 9, maybe by now closer to 10 months of development around this. By the end, there's a fairly complex and convoluted system that I had set up, or workflow. There's a lot of intermediary steps, sort of prepping and cleaning and massaging data. I've learned in this process that it's very effortful to get AI to generate for you 10,000 of anything, or even much less, if you're not okay with that very large number of things being very similar to each other. If you ask, I don't know, if you ask AI to give you a male name that starts with an A, you're gonna get different names different times you try. But if you try 1,000 times, you will be probably surprised how much fewer than 1,000 unique names will end up being on that list. And so my sort of codex and deco personality generation workflow is sort of a, I don't know, sort of a middle path, interconnected and constantly jumping back and forth type mixing of code based and intentional randomization and AI generation through text inference, um, and there's been a number of times and a number of ways that I found I had to sort of counteract default biases existing in the text models that we're using. And yeah, it's been an adventure. Towards the end, once I was actually at a stage where I was getting set to generate the output files, the idea was very obvious that having gathered all this data, I shouldn't just generate the ELIZA OS files and then sort of leave everything else in this huge, sprawling, heavily cloud AI inference dependent, chaotic program that may or may not keep working past next week or next month or next year, depending on how the AI ecosystem and cloud services evolve. And so I definitely knew I had to output an ELIZA OS agent file, but I also had to output the rest of the data. And now I decided that I wanted that data to sort of be sufficient, the other file, for that file to be sufficient in and of itself to sort of be the basis, the data basis for like subsequent agent file versions. So if we want to update eventually to a subsequent version of ELIZA OS, or if eventually we decide to, offer agent files for other agentic systems, instead of having to go back to my program, I wanted this sort of fuller output file to have everything needed to be able to generate stuff like that. And, basically that everything is what became sort of the codex page for each deco. And just for fun, for myself to be able to more easily sort of view things and do Q&A and that kind of stuff, I took to generating HTML pages out of the codex files, and they were just such an engaging experience to sort of peruse and interact with, that I think once I shared with the team, there was just a huge enthusiasm, which I also definitely caught about bringing this to the community at large.
I'd like to, if you guys don't mind, I'd like to take a stab at like contextualizing everything that we're seeing in front of us, from the layperson's, not builder's perspective, because I'm not a builder, but I think that like the story of all of this, and Daim, I think that it's really, really important that you give this kind of context in the codex, because I think that it demonstrates, and we wrote this in our tweet thread today, that like what we're trying to do at Mocha is to set a new bar for all of these projects. It was what we did with Art Decos. We wanted to set a new bar for what a PFP could be. That was Daim's like guiding light through all of that generation, all of that, finding new processes. It was like, we don't want anyone to be able to create a low effort PFP project ever again and be able to get away with it, because it will appear so much lamer by comparison. And we have set our sights extremely high with these agentic AIs. I mean, I think everyone, or maybe many people listening, have the same kind of experience with AI agents. If you're not like in, C-suite business world, like I'm certainly not, which is like as Twitter shit posters, certain Twitter entities, but they could be so much more. And the necessity of all of this work, right? The necessity of having the 100 million words, the more than 100 million words in the codex to formulate these identities is vital for these agents being interactive, being like brought to life in any sense, right? This amount of work and this amount of variety and this amount of innovation and this amount of like creative string pulling is 100% vital. And so everything in the Vibe Studio, I think, does kind of feed into one another. Renee, do you mind just going back to the total view? So yeah. Like if you just look at like the apps we have, right? You start with the museum. That's the genesis of everything, right? It's where the entire museum, that was the original Museum of Crypto Art, right? Is the collections as they originally were. It is the library, which is a new addition, but is essentially a contextualization device and a research device on these collections, right? So we start in that place, right? Will you go back to the homepage for me? The Codex builds all of this agentic, it's the agentic nuts and bolts, right? It is like all of the information for every deco. But then, of course, we think, well, if we are going to have 10,000 deco agents, how are you going to find a deco agent which makes sense for you? Which is why we have the Adoption Center, which is the next app on that homepage. The Adoption Center is this rotating cast of art decos we pull from the price floor. We wrote this in our tweet thread. Like, we're not unaware of market dynamics. We want to put pressure on the price floor in any way we can. And if all of these decos are going to have individual personalities, we want you to be able to come in and play with the ones that you are available. We want you to be able to form real, genuine connections with them, right? These are going to be sticky assets because they're not just aesthetic like representations. They are entities that are not necessarily imitated by any others in the collection. So what do we got here? Uthobeko or Ajayu? if you form a connection with Ajayu, that's that specific agent's personality based on that specific agent's lengthy codex page. Once you have this relationship with these decos, we want you to take them home, and then once you take them home, we want you to be able to fine tune them, which is why we have the deco launcher. Is that what it's called? The agent launcher or the deco launcher?
It's the let me go back. It's the deco launcher.
It's an ELIZA OS interface. It's like where you fine tune and train your deco agents. Are we ready to show that quite yet?
Let me log in. My ledger is fucking up again, so let's use another account that I've closed to me.
Okay, we're all
Shout out to Ledger.
We're all going to show. We're going to talk. Or Renee's going to tell us his seed phrase, but don't steal it. But all of these things lead into one another, and I think that the important part of the Vibe Studio is that we vibe coded a lot of this, but the point is that we are starting with a certain point, right? A certain beginning point and an end goal, and we are jumping from app to app to app. And when there's a new building block that we need to make, we are bringing it into fruition, and we're bringing it into fruition with a goal of increasing the value of decos and increasing the pressure on the price floor and increasing functionality. And once you get to the deco launcher, everything that comes after that is like, I think, representations of our ethos. Renee, do you mind?
Yeah, I'm getting my wallet situation still sucks. I need to switch to a new wallet infra with all my hardware wallets and the software stuff. Too much building, not enough keeping up with wallet tech.
In the meantime, we'll just
I'm going to be there.
We'll watch your avatar in his nice virtual dojo.
That's good.
Yeah, I love the way you put all that, Max. I think with this, added metadata and data and functionality that we're adding to the Art Deco ecosystem with this launch, I think this fundamentally puts the series, like, I don't know, miles ahead of anything else out there. I think we were joking on a recent team call that most PFP series don't even have names for their individual characters, and our decos are soon going to have an SDK for their personalities and characterizations. We are building and leading the way.
Yeah, next stuff that we are going to throw in is upload your own knowledge. So every deco already has some knowledge in their ELIZA agent instance, but we want you to be able to aggregate your own PDF or Markdown files to really teach the deco about your project or yourself, so it can answer questions about you and your work and stuff like that. And then allow people to put in their Discord API keys or bot IDs and whatever you need, hashes and keys to get that plugged into your Discord bot. Like these plugins are now being aggregated one after another, also according to what the community wants to see. And basically, the first time you spin up your ELIZA OS instance, in the background, we are hosting a Docker container for each individual Art Deco holder, and you can have 10 decos live there at the same time. So you have to install that once for your account, and then every time you change the constellation that you want to talk to, it only takes a few seconds to update the container and reload the operating system with the character files that you have selected in the UI. And from there, you can then, once this whole loading initialization sequence has finished, then you can hit the chat now button and meet your agents. And we are currently tuning the model provider. We are going to scale up the Hermes 470B inference at compute. So everything will be way faster once that's cranked up. But for a couple of users at the same time, it should be totally fine. And if you can wait for like 10 seconds or something to get a reply, that's all good. So this is going to be cranked up performance-wise. And then, yeah, every Art Deco holder can spin up to 10 agents. That means we could like right away spin up almost 1,000 ELIZAR instances, and every new holder right away has the ability to do so. So you can get Art Decos now on OpenSea, buy them. You will see them when you log into the launcher via the Vibe Studio, which is, by the way, vibe.museumofcryptoart.com. And then you can like spin up your agents and talk to them. So yeah, like it's now ready. I can now hit the chat now button, and there the instance is still building. Might take a bit longer. Like, let's hop back into this later. As I said, first time takes a bit, but I don't want to bore you. Like, what's another thing that we could like in the meantime showcase?
I'd like to just, if we can just hang on the homepage for a second, I'd like to just kind of give an overview of the rest of what we have going on.
I mean, chatting, I just jumped back to the demo instance. So this is how the experience that you would get, but just with your Art Decos and not with the ones from the Adoption Center, which are these that I currently had open. Yeah.
Renee, will you jump back to just the homepage for me?
Of course.
So a couple more of these apps, and I think that the two specifically I want to just talk about, which are the Deco World Map and the Deco Finder. These came into fruition. The Deco Finder didn't exist until this morning when I woke up an hour ago. Then all of a sudden there was the Deco Finder and the Deco World Map we uploaded yesterday, and that was a pet project of Daim's over the last couple of days. These are like really interesting and creative.
I'm just like grabbing a deco from somewhere, but I could also like grab it from OpenSea. Just right click, copy image, and then you go to the Finder and hit like Control V, and it's going to tell you which deco that is. Yeah, so when you like find a deco on Twitter or something and you don't know the ID or the name, you don't know how to find it, you can just like paste the image in.
And the point is that, like, we encountered this problem, which is like, if you just see a deco's image, how do you know what deco it is? And we created this tool so that now if you just have the image file, right, you can upload it, you can paste it, whatever, it will tell you everything about that deco. The world map was an incredible idea, right? How do we visualize all of these decos and their codecs have hometowns and locations that they're connected to? How do we visualize that, right? The overarching point of this is that the Vibe Studio is about encountering not problems necessarily, but like any fun idea, any obstacle that we can hurdle, and creating apps in real time through all these incredible vibe coding tools to bring the stuff into fruition. And we don't want to just be doing that alone. We also want like everyone in our community. We have huge partners, right? We use all sorts of ELIZA OS stuff. We are formal partners with Compute AI, the decentralized AI company. Like, we have real technological heavyweights like that we're aligned with, and more apps are going to exist within this community, and we want them all collected together in the Vibe Studio, right? Because it's not just about what we've created. We're creating the building blocks of this agentic kind of ecosystem, but that's going to require all of this other stuff that is being innovated and experimented with outside of what we are necessarily coming up with. So like, all of our tech is open source for a reason, right? We want the tech to be open source, we want the information to be open source, and we want to be the kind of benchmark and North Star of how to get this done, right? Anyone who goes and wants to create agents, they can look at the codex and say, okay, this is the information that you need to create an AI agent with a sufficient amount of personality. We have one community app that we are offering at launch, which is Artscape's Deco Printer. Thanks to Artscape and our friend Tor for helping iterate on that over the last couple months. Deco Printer is a print order site if you want to have your decos like physically turned into really incredible prints. Tor was kind enough to send me a test copy, and it's really great quality. But like, that's an incredible tool that we can offer our community. It's an incredible tool that Artscape is creating, and Artscape wants to showcase the tech that they have. We want to provide more opportunities for deco holders to find value in their decos, and so we have this like mutual alignment here. We want to continue to push as much stuff like that as possible into the Vibe Studio, as many apps as are mutually beneficial, as many apps that our community is excited about. You know, we have 80,000 followers on Twitter. We have 1,200 followers on Substack. Like, we want to get this information out, and so we want people to be iterating and innovating and experimenting, and we want to do our best to provide the tools and provide the knowledge and provide the experience and provide the publicity when possible. And this Artscape site is a really, really cool example of that. You can, it's live now. You can order a print of your deco, and they'll handle all the ordering. 100% of proceeds are going to go to Artscape because they built the thing after all. And like, it's really important to us that as we build out the Vibe Studio, it's not just our harebrained ideas and schemes. It's everyone's harebrained ideas and schemes all collected together. That part really excites and energizes me.
Yeah, I just want to hop in to say, I mean, all of this is just so elaborate, so incredibly full of depth, and adds so much just new flavor to this collection of decos. It's just really exciting to explore around, learn more about the decos that you have, chat with them. I mean, it's very fun. And I just want to say too, like, from kind of looking from an overarching perspective about Mocha 2.0, I feel like, you know, a lot of what we were brainstorming is figuring out how does crypto art evolve into this agentic era that we're in. How do we preserve the legacy of crypto art as a museum, and how do we empower people to discover more about it, and not just kind of the headliners of what you see on Twitter or what you see in a gallery or something. So all of these decos, it's worth saying, are really imbued with a ton of crypto art history and legacy. Each of them has, we've said this before, but I just want to reiterate it, that each of them has their own favorite crypto artist that's part of our museum's collection. It's stuff like that that I think, you know, with us thinking about this 2.0 next phase era, how do we build agents that are knowledgeable about the true history of crypto art, but also have their own opinions and interests in artists that made up this movement? So talk to them, ask them about their favorite artists. I think like that kind of thing is just so interesting to me. And I think a really creative way for a museum like ours to think about how do we preserve and protect crypto art and that legacy, while embracing really, really, really bleeding edge technology. We are using like the very latest tech here to build out these characters. And yeah, what Daim and Renee have built here is just so fascinating. And yeah, I think the Vibe Studio itself, to me, it's just such a good playground and really a sandbox for us to build and make things, but also, as Max was emphasizing, this is a community sandbox. This is where everyone can build things around crypto art, around decos, and oh yeah, there we are. So also virtual world experiences, which are very, very important, especially to me. But you know, building experiences for these decos to thrive beyond 2 dimensions is really important. And this is a deco demo space where you can explore around, look at unmuseums, look at rooms, explore decos that are installed within those rooms. I think that's really important, and that's something that we're going to continue to build out more spaces to showcase these. But yeah, just wanted to throw that in there. I'm really excited about this next phase, and this is a huge turning point for Mocha.
I love your beautiful sculptural museum rooms installations. I'm not even quite sure how to call them. Great to see the decos on here. I just wanted to add, you mentioned people should ask decos about their favorite artist. Definitely. And just wanted to add a bit more context around that. The longer term plan is for decos to eventually end up with sort of a hook, or if you want, a siphon into sort of the Mocha library that has a steadily growing amount of crypto art insight and history that they'll be able to draw on for their own understanding. But even today, without that hook sort of being in place as yet, all decos basically have some thoughts about at least a couple of Museum of Crypto Art, Genesis Collection crypto artists. And honestly, even if you don't ask them, they are fairly likely sooner or later to bring up one of them in conversation, which is also sort of a very I don't know. I think a very organic and vital part of what decos are intended to be, sort of crypto art ambassadors, and yeah.
It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff, man.
There's a lot of stuff. It's funny. Like, we released this tweet thread, and we're doing this live stream. We're gonna have a town hall tomorrow, where hopefully we can get some questions and more specific showcases. We have essays going out. Like, we know it's going to take people a bit to like dig into everything. I think it's important to stress that like our DMs are open. Our Discord is open. We want to know what you're thinking, what you're having problems with, what you want to see in the future, because we are just building at a pretty ridiculous clip at this point. I think we're going to have to stage an intervention for Renee, honestly.
I might just echo that, I think the great question now is the invitation to create a decentralized museum. And between, the artwork that can be displayed, the rooms that Untitled has created, the IP around the Art Deco ecosystem, we continue to get more and more ready to turn it over to other people to experiment and build and give them kind of an out-of-the-box playground to talk about this art movement, what it means to make digital art in digital environments, and what it means to move into these spaces. Really what a museum of contemporary art looks like in contemporary environments.
Yeah, well said. That's exactly where we're heading. I mean, this is so interesting as we are really at the cusp of like the whole AI agent stuff really to work. And like the last year was lots of development in the ELIZA OS ecosystem. Like they've been building like crazy. And now that they are coming back with ELIZA OS as a token and the core narrative, I think we are going to see a lot of attention coming to what we've been building, because they are aware, like we are in the partners chats since the launch for a year ago. So we've been working with them for quite some time before that even. So there will be lots of content where we talk about this and bring in people, as I think we could like really lead by example with the Vibe Studio approach of organizing the thousands of things that people are going to build over the next years. We need like a new UX layer for explorability of these Vibe coded applications that are going to pop up left and right at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
give it structure, like a home for Web3 culture and everything beyond, really.
Yeah, and leading by example, Renee. Like we're open source. We're CC. These are CC0 decos after all. So to
True.
what Renee was saying earlier, all these apps, all of these things are done very openly. We're building in public. We think that's really critical for the narrative and the kind of spirit of crypto art in general and crypto in general. So that's very much something that we're eating our own dog food here. And this is like all the dog food in the Vibe Studio. It's just all there.
Join us tomorrow as we eat real dog food.
And cat food. I should say cats are a big part of what we do.
Anything else we want to talk about today? Anything else we want to showcase? Like we've been hinting at, we have our Mocha Weekly Town Hall tomorrow at noon, as we do every week, and we'll be answering questions and showing deeper dive into all of this stuff. What do we miss?
I found a really good hiding spot if we want to play hide and go seek in the metaverse.
There's some good.
Ruin it.
Those museums have some secrets to them. We should do that. I think this is Hyper 5v1, but I'm working on a V2 space as well. There are a lot more tricks that we can put up our sleeve for that. So definitely want to bring decos to life in different ways. Maybe make them as some avatars so you could walk around it. Would be fun.
Yeah, that's something you already tinkered around with. I think the first results were already cool, but now with stuff like Nano Banana and like use that as a middleware, I think it's going to be so much easier.
Yeah, the tool, since we've started this is really like a in real time visualization of what AI can do. Like we're just manifesting apps as the technology progresses, and I think it's a pretty cool visualization in that respect.
I agree.
We're living in the future.
We will obviously be hammering everything Vibe Studio for the foreseeable future on all of our individual Twitter channels and the museum's Twitter channel. We are looking forward to hearing from everyone. We're desperate to hear from everyone. And if anyone has things that they want to build, like, talk to us. We will provide as many tools, as many instructions for how to build, but like as much help as we can possibly offer. Cool. Shall we kick it, guys, or you want to hang on a bit longer?
I think we're good.
All right.
Yeah.
Need to, spread the word.
Spread the word, spread the gospel from everyone here at the Museum of Crypto Art. Thanks for being with us, and I guess we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll be back in a day and 16 minutes.